You're watching the News Hour at 9, debate number 2 on Times Now, Super Prime Time.
Gaurav Bhatia, to you first. How do you respond to the statement made by Mr. Rahul Gandhi? Is he reacting to the fuel price hike, the unemployment figures, the fact that, the joblessness is creating problems for people? Or do you think it is once again fear-mongering that the opposition has resorted to on several occasions, once again Rahul Gandhi doing the same?
Navika, it's a known fact that Rahul Gandhi is not taken seriously even by the leaders of the Congress. And I've never agreed with him. But on this one occasion, I must say that when Rahul Gandhi talks about destruction or retrograde movement, we have to give him some, credibility. The reason is simple. He is the god of destruction. Single-handedly, he has destroyed the Congress. But when it comes to our country, India, I think India is a resilient, a very strong nation. And these figures speak for themselves. The growth rate, even after the pandemic that we have seen, is around 8.5% by estimates given by the most credible agencies. Foreign reserves, $620 billion, fourth highest in the world. Sixth largest economy, GST highest collection, FDI pouring in. And I would only tell Rahul Gandhi that when pandemic struck our country, he was the one who was ridiculing India's fight against the pandemic. He said it is COVID, Indian strain, Modi ji kya kar rahe hain? But with less resources also, India fared very well. It was because of the steely resolve of the people. And we are extending help to Sri Lanka. We have extended a credit line of $1 billion. We are also helping in all the means that are possible. What does it show? It shows that we are in a position of strength and we cannot compare to Sri Lanka or any other country because we are leading from the front.
Ashutosh Mishra ji, the fact is that Sri Lanka had faulty policies. They reduced their tax rates from 15% to 8% in 2019. The fact is that their collections went down, their debt went up, their foreign borrowings tripled. Right now they have forex reserves of $2.6 billion compared to India's $622 billion. And the fact is that India's tax collections, direct ones, are growing at about 40+%, and at the indirect tax level, it's growing at 30% level, which shows a robust economy where taxes are being collected. I wonder why Mr. Rahul Gandhi wants to create a doomsday scenario and ask a question about India being like Sri Lanka in 2 to 3 years. Is that to scare the people of India?
No, I think what Rahul Gandhi has done is drawn an apt analogy on how the people in power in our neighborhood undermined constitutional provisions, misused authority and discrimination, and how their wrong economic policies ultimately led to this ruin. Let's come to India. In India, our own Niti Aayog says that 25% of the people in India are poor. The Global Risk Report, which was given out by the World Economic Forum, it has listed top risks for India, which is fractured interstate relations, debt crisis, widespread youth disillusionment, as among the reasons which India faces the risk of a bad future. Today, RBI has cut the growth projected growth rate. We are not yet back to pre-pandemic levels, so we should stop boasting that India is doing very well. In Global Hunger Index, we are 101 out of 116 countries, nothing to be very proud of. And even the World Inequality Report pointed out that
so therefore, Sri Lanka will be replicated.
Of the top in India, the rich, they have 57% of the total income of India. And 50% have just 13%.
So
he's talking about this inequality.
Ashutosh Mishra ji, you know, some of the studies that you are quoting, you know, let's respect those, but also why don't you quote the fact that there was an IMF study just 2 days ago which said that India has taken care of its poor people. Number two, when you say that 25% people are below the poverty line, you're almost making it sound as if in the earlier years when the UPA government was there, it was 0% and today it is 25%. And for the first time in a century, we've had a pandemic of this nature. My question is not about whether there are problems in India or not. Certainly there are. Certainly there are. There is a problem, but there is a problem across the globe. There is a war that's going on, and you know, there are problems that most countries are facing on the growth prospects after a pandemic. Of course there are problems, but to make it sound that we are going to be Sri Lanka in 2 or 3 years, Ishkaran Bhandari, is that fair or is that fear-mongering?
Navika ji, to expect fairness from Rahul Gandhi is a futile exercise. Of course, economy is a very serious issue. Price rise, inflation versus the need of the government to do infrastructure development or welfareism is a very serious topic because middle class is feeling the pinch. That is my opinion on it. But when Rahul Gandhi talks about Sri Lanka, let's see the past. Whether any step of the government, be it 18, 19, COVID, Hindutva, now headed the Sri Lanka way, I almost feel sympathy for him. People have thoroughly rejected the Congress party. People have thoroughly rejected him. His only hope as such is some calamity happens, some unexpected event happens, something goes to, I don't want to use unparliamentary word, but something goes to the dogs so that his career can revive and maybe he can get employment. That is his only hope. I feel sympathy for him because I think India is a very strong, resilient country and his pipe dreams will not come true.
Well, clearly at this point in time, many people know that there are problems India is facing and the world is facing. And there will always be times when there are problems, challenges that we will have to face as a country, as individuals. Of course, it will always be there. So long as there is life, there will continue to be challenges. But to actually come out and make a statement saying India will be Sri Lanka in 2 or 3 years, I think is very, very unfair. Because, yes, it does pinch us when we pay a lot more for petrol and diesel, but the fact is fuel prices have gone up by 50 to 58% in all developing countries and developed countries. US 51% up, France 58% up. You know, these are the kind of rates that fuel prices have gone up by. In India, it's been about 5% increase in fuel prices. Yes, it does pinch us when lemons in this hot summer cost 250 rupees a kilo. A glass of Nimbu Pani costs you that much. But going the Sri Lanka way, is that exaggeration just too much to be real, even by Rahul Gandhi's standards? That's the question India is asking. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen, and my panelists for joining me on this debate. Taking a short break. On the other side, the situation in Pakistan, what's going to happen tomorrow? All of that in just 2 minutes from now.